Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome back to the fall campaign in B-17 Flying Fortress Leader by DVG. This one has us in the skies over World War II Europe in charge of an Army Air Force squadron of fighters and bombers. And we're trying to do damage over Nazi-occupied Europe during World War II. We've been going through the Air War Begins campaign, August 1942 to December 1942. In case you're wondering what all of the dice are here, those are the representations of the targets that I've got available to me. They correspond. I'll tip the camera up. We'll also turn the light on, back on top of the camera. We'll tip up for just a second. I'll zoom out so you guys can see that the dice on the map are corresponding to the targets that I've got up here. That's just kind of a visual representation for me to map out, okay, what's the best path I want to take. So now I'll bring that back down to the map. A consideration I have here is I need to take out at least 10 victory points worth of airfield targets, or I get an automatic dismal evaluation on the campaign. So that's what all of those represent. And we've actually got a -2 Luftwaffe response roll that I have not been paying attention to, which that gets rolled for during pre-flight. Okay, so we'll start off by receiving our weekly SO points. We have 15 per the campaign, so we're up to 25. Then we have any SO adjustments, but we don't. So now we can purchase a new group. Let's see what groups we have available. Here we go, during 1942. If I want to bring another bomber group, or if I want to grab another fighter group. Because from the looks of it, this could be the first week that we end up having to deal with Luftwaffe squadrons. So I could grab another fighter group, and I'm honestly, well, there's only one other fighter group left. I think the one fighter group is fine, so I will grab, let's see, I've got 25 SO points, and I can promote this group to green immediately, or not, yeah, to green immediately. So looking here, I'd like to get decent air to ground. So I think we'll grab Paradise Lost, the 97th Bomber Group, and we will spend the 4 SO points to promote them to green. So that'll be 16 SO points coming out. 0 to 4, they're okay. 5 to 6, shaken. They've got a range of 6, durability 1, tonnage of 6, which means we can bring 6 tons of bombs with them. 0 to 4, they're okay. +3 air to air. I mostly want the +1 air to ground. 5 to 6, they're shaken at slow speed. +1 air to air, -1 air to ground. So that'll be 16 SO points coming out, bringing me down to 9. And then I'll go find the bomber chit for them. Right, yes. Alright. I'm just going to double check something. What did we determine that their strength was? I think we determined strength was all 16, I thought. Just going to double check that. Strength of 16 is the number that sticks in my head, but I would hardly swear that's true. Bomber and fighter groups. Group losses equal 16, then the group is destroyed. Okay. So now we need to find the chit for the 97th Bomber Group. Ah, here we are. I'm just going to put these back. Just going to make sure things are live over here. Here we are. Okay. So now we're deciding what. So now we have to decide what we're going to attack in our morning briefing. We have 4 airfield victory points because we took out the airfield that we were working over for the last 2 weeks. I've now got a total of 5 bomber groups, so now I have to be conscious of how much firepower I can bring. Excuse me. Let's see. What do I want to do here? Our airfield targets. Actually, let me do this. I've got these dice out here. I'm going to grab another set of D10s. So the purple ones, so we're going to leave the purple ones there to represent the aircraft factories. I probably should have done this last night, but hindsight, as they say. Now I'm going to use green dice to represent the airfields. Let's see, hex 11 is going to get swapped out. One of those is going to get swapped out. So purple is for aircraft factories. Green is going to be for airfields. 16 gets a 6. Actually, that's going to get both. Let's see. Hex 15, 7 is going to get swapped out. Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. That's all of them. This is mostly to show me which ones are aircraft factories and which ones are airfields. And we do have an airfield close to... We do have an airfield right over top of us, but there is a Luftwaffe squadron in the space. So we do have to be aware of that. So... I think we will go after... I'm also tempted to go after this aircraft factory. Just because as of now it's got an unescorted path. So I think what we're going to do here is I'm going to send a fighter escort along with the fighter escort along with a group going after this airfield out here in France. That's also a dispersed target, so I think we're going to attack target 5, which is AF-02, Airfield 2. And we're going to send some bombers after this aircraft factory down here a little bit further south in France. So that's AC-01. So those are the 2 targets we're going to attack. We'll assign groups to each mission. Now I'm going to send the fighter escort along with the group going after... I'm going to send the fighter escort along with the group going after the airfield target down here, because we're going to have the Luftwaffe attack. So let's see here. I think I want... Let's see. Well, they're both going to... Actually, the target 3, this target that we're going after with group 2, isn't dispersed, so I'm not as worried about that. So I think we'll do it like... I think we'll actually do it this way. So I'm going to send the Spitfire. I'm going to send the Spitfire fighter group, Death Dealer, Grim Reaper, and Paradise Lost after this airfield, and I'm going to send the Hell's Angels and the Berlin Sleepers down here after that. I wish there was a way... Oh, hang on. I've got to note our new group. Okay. So, okay, right. Let's do it this way. Okay, I've got my log here. So what did we say? Hell's Angels are actually going after. Let's see, they're going after. So the Hell's Angels are going after AC-1. Actually, they're going to be part of Mission 2. I've got the Berlin Sleeper going with them. Then I've got the Spitfire going. I've got the Spitfire going after AF-2. Actually, everybody else is going after AF-02. Okay. So now we're arming our bombers. Who's got our dispersed? Okay, let me look at, this is target 5. That one's dispersed. So this target's dispersed, which means we need to keep that in mind as we're loading our bombers up going after that one. So we're definitely going to want a lot of M30s for that mission. I also want some. Actually, let's give everybody. We'll give everybody at least 2 M30s. Okay, here's Bomber Group 2. That's a okay. Here's a chit for them. Okay, I need to find more of my M30s. There we are. Okay. I'm not going to give the Death Dealers the M30s because they've already got a -2. They've already got a -2 air to ground, so I'm going to give them a little bit of heavier firepower. Let's go with... the only thing I don't like about that plan is that's basically going to clean me out of SO points. Also, I'm probably going to want incendiary targets against that aircraft factory in France that we're going after. So let me see if I can track down more of my M30s. I'm deciding what I want to do here. That Death Dealer, I think we are going to give the Death Dealer a little bit more expensive firepower. It's something that's going to be easier to hit because he's got a -2 modifier on that. So I at least want him to do some damage. That'll cost me 6 SO points, though. That's the only thing I'm not crazy about with that. Let's see. Then for the Grim Reaper and the Paradise Lost, I think we're going to give them 2 more M30s apiece. Actually, 1 more M30 apiece. Because they're facing they've got a lot less punishing modifiers, and actually, Paradise Lost's got a +1 air to ground. As for so that's Group 1, that's Group 2. As for the Berlin Sleeper and the Hell's Angels, their target is not dispersed. So... Unfortunately, I am very low on SO points, so I think we're going to have to give them mostly M30s as well. 2, 4, 6. Oh, we got our incendiaries as well. They hit on a 7+. So actually, let me see if I can find more of these M50A1s. Because I'd love to be able to load them up with incendiary ammunition if I can. Looks like they're going to be on the back of the M34s. Let's see. Okay, 5 and 6. So yeah, looks like I can load them up. And then when do we roll for incendiary? That's probably, I'm just going to look at that real quick. Because that might tell me that, yeah, I want to send these incendiary, can only be used on targets that, okay, so yeah, I think we're actually going to load the Hell's Angels and the Berlin Sleeper up with incendiary ammunition. Oop. That's what we're trying to do. Okay. So, purchase equipment and technology, which we've done that. Display mission setup. So we're going to go... So they're going after the airfield here. Group 1 is coming right here. We can get the rest of these dice out of the way. Except for the 2 targets that we're going after. I'll leave some dice over here so I can track what kind of damage we're doing to these targets. Let me tip the camera up just a little bit. Okay. And I believe we roll for... Is liftoff a response once for the week, or do we roll individually for each mission? I think we roll that once for the week. So actually now we've got to pay attention to the response modifier on a -2. Let me bring the dice tower over here. So yeah, it looks like we roll once for the week and it's a -2 modifier. That's a 4, -2 is 2, so we've got poor response. Which means they're not going to be doing very much coming after us. And then we repeat everything until mission over target. I believe we loop the... Yep, okay, repeat the pre-flight. Okay, so we're going to cut through the... So we're going to cut through the pre-flight mission on the... We're going to cut through pre-flight for Group 2. So we'll go for Group 1 first. Which means they will draw a target-bound event. So we'll give the events a quick shuffle up. Come on. And a cut. And we'll draw for a target-bound event for Group 1. So Group 1 says, uh-oh, increased Luftwaffe activity. Draw 2 additional bandits for any bandit interceptions up to response max. Yikes. Okay, so they're going to move in. They're going to move into our space, into the mission space. Formation check, though, so everybody's got to check to see if they stay in formation. Actually, we forgot to set that up. So we've got the 4th Fighter Group flying low. Then we'll have the Grim Reaper be the lead group. Then we'll we'll have Paradise Lost be the lead group. Then we'll have the 305th. Then we'll have the 93rd. So now we perform our formation checks. Alright, so the Death Dealer needs a 6+ to stay in formation. That's a 1, so the Death Dealer is out of formation. Then the Grim Reaper and the Paradise Lost both need 7s to stay in formation. And the Grim Reaper's got a +2 to staying in formation because of LeMay. That's well, actually we probably should roll those separately. So we'll say the Grim Reaper stayed in formation. Paradise Lost is out of formation, so that's the 97th. Unfortunately, their they're out of formation. So now we have to draw squadron interception. So only the one there. Okay, so we draw... Alright. They remain in their adjacent hexes. There are more Luftwaffe squadrons than use them in the hex first. Okay, so in a bandit's tactic... So it looks like we draw one bandit counter from the cup for each Luftwaffe squadron that's attacking the mission counter. So it looks like we've only got the one squadron in here. First time we've ever had a squadron interception. And which side do we use for this? Place each counter from right to left. Use the bandit side with the number in the black hex. With the number in the black... Okay, use the bandit side with the number in the white box. Okay, so we've got a BF-109 coming at us. Hits on a 6-9... Come on. Does not want to focus here. There we go. I've got the camera zoomed in so I can see the map. 6, 9, 11 are the numbers. So less than 6 is going to do nothing. 6 to 9 will do 1 hit. 9 to 10 will do 2. And 11 plus will do 3 hits. So that is that one. And we do have to draw 2 more because we've got increased Luftwaffe activity. That's problematic. All right, we've got another BF-109, 7, 8, 11. Do we have any tactics to worry about? I don't believe so. And finally, no bandit. That was very fortunate. So we've only got 2 bandits to worry about, as if that wasn't enough of a problem. So bandit placement of a fighter escort can intercept the number of aircraft bandits based on the escort's fighter strength. So roll to determine if you can choose which ones to intercept. So we've got the 4th fighter group flying at low escort, or flying at low altitude. On a 3+, they can choose which ones to intercept. That's a 10, they can choose. And we can intercept based on their strength. I believe the Spitfire is... Okay, the Spitfire's taken 1 damage, but they can intercept them both, I believe. Yep. So we will have the... Aircraft can only attack its own bandits. So the fighter group will intercept both bandits. Okay, so now we're rolling for... So now we got bandit attacks. Okay. Which one we go for... Okay, we don't have... The Spitfires don't attack at fast speed, so we'll roll for the bandit attacks. Right. Yes. Okay, so... Yep. Has conflict is stopping in. Can't stay long, though. You and your son have mowing to do before the Steeler game. All good conflict. Glad you could stop by for at least a little bit here. And hopefully not watch my squadron get torn to pieces the first time it faces a Luftwaffe attack. Okay, so now we are going to... Yikes, it's attacking both of the fighter... So both of these bandits are attacking the fighter groups. We'll attack the BF-109 first. Does it have a modifier here? I don't believe so, no. Let's see, that's an 8, so it will do 2 hits to the fighter group. So that'll bring... Let me find my pencil. So that'll bring us up to 3 damage on the Spitfire. Was there any kind of modifier? I don't believe so. Let me check what the... When my bomber attacks, if it has a defense value, and they don't... Okay, neither one has defense values, so that's a relief. Let's see, when a... Okay. They have... Okay, so the Spitfires have a +2 air-to-air. I have not... Chester, very funny. This is the Air War beginning campaign, by the way. Excuse me, frog in my throat. Still doesn't want to break up, but I think we got it there. Okay. So we do take we took 2 damage from the first fighter group. Now we've got the... I gotta see what the R2D8 is. Okay, that's probably part of the... Oh, that's a rocket attack. Do we have rockets? We do have rockets, actually. So, range 2. So that means roll 2d10 and inflict a hit on each 8 or higher. Yuck. So this is the rocket attack on the from the BF-109 going after the 4th fighter group. Okay, rockets do nothing, thankfully. So now we have the actual attack. That's an 8, so the 4th fighter group will take another point of damage. That is the Spitfire. Which means now the Spitfire finally gets to attack. Number of turns, number of bandits. Bandits attack a number of turns indicated by the attack turn. So this was their first turn. They'll get a second turn at us as well. So now we are destroyed on a modified roll of 10 or higher. Alright, so now we're rolling. I believe we have to declare which bandit we're attacking. Follow the fast for each slow group. Okay, bandits are destroyed on a modified roll. We have determined all that, so yeah. We will have them attack the... We'll have them attack the BF-109 with the 6-9-11 first. Actually, probably got to go 7-8-11 first. But the 4th fighter group has a +2 air-to-air modifier. We're still at okay with them. That's a 4, +2 is 6. So nothing happening there. That's unfortunate. So now we've got the second attack. Does the rocket attack... What I need to know now is if the rocket attack happens prior to the first turn. Okay, the bomber group... Okay. We just have the second attack. So the BF-109, 7-8-11 first. That is a 6. What did we say? It does modify by the number in black. Right. No, that's the number of turns. So actually a 6 is no hits from the BF-109. That would be a hit from the 6-9-11 group. And that's not a hit either. So we'll send the 4th fighter group after the BF-109 again. That's a 1. That's a terrible roll, so nothing happening there. Which means the bandit attacks are over because we had 2... We have a pencil flying. We had 2 attack turns. So remove any bandit whose attack is complete. So both of them are done at this point. The 4th fighter group took a little bit of abuse, but not bad. So for any remaining squadrons that attack, we'll flip that over to its rearming side. Alright, and then repeat steps. We're already over the target, so I believe we still draw an event card. I'm going to double check that. No, I don't think we do. Draw until the mission counter reaches the target hex. Okay, so we have reached the target hex. We don't have any previous damage on the airfield, but we do have to deal with flak. So they're going to get 2 rolls against each of our bombers, which for flak, do we have to add the dispersed penalty to it? Don't roll flak attacks against the fighter group. Okay, intel flak modifier. We're not using the intel rules. So each one's going to get... So against each bomber, the target's going to get 2 rolls. 2, 5, 7, and 10 are the modifiers on that. So we'll roll for the death dealer first. Yowza, that is actually 0, 1, 2 hits. So a total of 4 hits on the Death Dealers, the one we rolled first. So that's 4. Spitfire picked up 1 experience. Then we'll roll for the Grim Reaper. 7 and a 3, so it's taking a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. So the Death Dealer is at 8 and shaken, which is going to cause us a lot of problems on trying to bomb. Actually, yeah, that's the... Oh no, we did the Death Dealer already. Grim Reaper took 4 damage. Grim Reaper is still okay, thankfully. As for Paradise... Oh, and I forgot to modify for durability, but I don't think anything would have been different. Paradise Lost. 7 minus 1 is 6. 5 minus 1 is 4. That will be another... That'll be 2 hits. Actually, that'll be 3 hits. Wait. 7 minus 1 is 6. That's down to 2 hits. 5 minus 1 is 4 is 1 hit. So that's a total of 3 hits on Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is just barely okay. So now we're rolling our bombing rolls now that we're over the target. So we'll start off with the Death Dealer's first M34. It's got a -2 air to ground plus another -2 since it's out of formation. Actually, let's do this properly. Let's do it with the 97th Bomber Group first, since they're the lead group. We've got the M30, which is a dispersed weapon. We can see it by, if the camera will zoom in for us, we'll see it by the D+2, and that is a dispersed target. So we've got a +2 modifier, which is canceled out by them being out of formation. So this is just a straight roll. That's a 2, so nothing happening on that one. Our guys still can't bomb to save their lives. Next weapon, or next bomb. That's an 8, so we do deal a hit to... I'll use a die for that, so that's 1 hit on that airfield. And then our last one, which is once again a straight roll. That's a 5, nothing happening there. And then the next one to arrive is going to be the 305th. They're in formation, so they get a +2 bonus. They actually get +2 they get the +2 bonus from dispersed, uncancelled out, and they've got a +0 air to ground modifier. That's a 10 plus 1 is 11, so they'll actually do 2 hits on the airfield. Then we'll run that back. That's a 5 plus 2 is 7, so nothing happening there. And then the last bomb, that's a 10 plus 2 is 12. That'll be another 2 hits on that airfield. So that's up to 5 damage. Then we've got the Death Dealer coming in. They've got a -2 plus another -2 for air to ground. They've got -2 because they're out of formation, and -2 because of their air to ground modifier. So now we're looking at a -4 roll. I gave them bombs that are going to be a little bit easier in theory to hit with. But the way I'm rolling, I'm not holding my breath. Now with a 2, that'll modify down to goose eggs. And then the last roll is a 3, which will also modify down where I can't do anything with that bomb. So now these 3 will get the dice tower out of shot. These 3 are going to turn tail and head for home. So they'll draw an event card. The card they will draw. Contrails are visible. Draw 1 additional bandit for any bandit interceptions up to response max. which that's our homebound event. So they're actually going to end up over the UK base, which means they're going to land, complete their mission. We don't have any squadron interceptions, so we reset the squadrons. Final target damage status. So the airfield in France took 5 damage. That's a very respectable hit. Okay. Then we do VPs and XPs. We didn't flatten it though. So we've got the... So we didn't flatten it, so everybody gets 1 experience for flying there. So that's the Spitfire, the Death Dealer, the Grim Reaper, and Paradise Lost. Which actually is enough to promote the Spitfire, and the Death Dealer. So the Spitfire goes up to average. Which really is no change for them in the grand scheme of things. 0 to 7, okay. Still okay. 8 to 10, shaken. Still moves it slow, and the modifiers are all the same for that. As for the Death Dealer, who also got promoted, they are now up to green, which actually gives them a +1 on the air to +2 on the air to air, -1 air to ground. So now they're not nearly as terrible. Let's see. So we'll erase that. And now the Spitfire is average. Death Dealer is now green. And we're done with the first mission of the day. So we'll pull that counter off, we'll pull that shit off the board. And now we'll turn our attention to the Hells Angels and the Berlin Sleeper. So now they're going to go through... We've done their pre-flight already. I kind of shortcutted that. So actually it looks like if we're supposed to repeat pre-flight, we do... so we repeat pre-flight, so we'll roll for a new round of Luftwaffe response. Once again, -2 on the Luftwaffe response. That's a 9 -2 is 7, so average response. Fortunately for us, though, there's still no range. So given that we're sending them down here to an aircraft factory, we're not going to have to worry about that. So now we start the mission. So we're going to draw an event card for Group 2, and they will find bomb jettison. A random bomber group must jettison 1 bomb of your choice. I believe these count as bombs, so we'll have the Hells Angels jettison 1 of their incendiary bombs. That's unfortunate, but I'm going to choose them because they've got the worst air-to-ground modifier. Then we'll move them in. Formation check. Oh, I'm terrible about doing this. We'll have the 92nd come in first, and then the 90th, or the 303rd. So we'll roll for the 92nd to stay in formation. They need a 6+ to stay in formation. That's a 4, they're out of formation. And then the Hells Angels need an 8+ to stay in formation. They're out as well. Yikes. Alright, Luftwaffe Squadron interception, except nobody's coming in. Then fighter groups return to base. We have squadron rearming, then we repeat steps. So we'll draw a new target-bound event card. Weather updates. The weather in the target zone is worse than expected. Apply -2 air-to-ground modifier. Great. So they'll move in. Now we need a formation roll to see if they get back in formation. We'll roll for the Berlin Sleeper first. They do get back in formation. And the Hells Angels do not get back in formation. Alright, we're probably not going to want to go too far with the dice tower, though. We skip all of that, and now we're over the target. So now we didn't have any previous damage on the... We didn't have any previous damage on the aircraft factory that we're going after. So now we'll deal with flak attack. It's a 7-9. We'll start off with the Berlin Sleeper first. Durability of 1. I will remember to modify for that. That's a 1, so that'll do nothing. Then the Hell's Angels. Also durability 1. That's a 6. -1 is 5. Nothing happening there. So now we'll see about dropping these incendiaries on the target. I'm going to grab some notes here. Okay. So we'll start off with the Berlin Sleeper getting there first. They need at least a 7 to hit with the incendiary. They've actually got a -2 air to ground because the weather was worse than expected. That's a 3. -2 is 1, so nothing happening there. Actually, they've got a further -1 air to ground, so that's a -3 total. That modifies down to a 0. That's a 2, also nothing happening. And the last one, that's an 8, which unfortunately the -3 is going to take that away to being a 5, so nothing happening on that target. Then the Hell's Angels, the only way they're hitting anything here is in my dreams, most likely. Let's see just how bad this is going to be. They've got a -1 plus a -2. They've got a -1 base plus a -2 from the choppy weather, or from the weather updates, plus another -2 for being out of formations. This is a -5. Like I said, the only way they're hitting anything is in my delusions. We'll roll it for formality's sake, and of course I roll a 10 now that there's no way I can hit anything. Then again, with their second incendiary, that's a 1. Nothing happening on that one. That's rather unfortunate. Anywho, now we turn around and get ready to head for home. So we've got another event card coming up. We want an event. We want a homebound event. Choppy weather. Perform formation check for all bomber groups each movement turn. We'll move the mission counter. Then we'll do a formation check. The Berlin Sleeper needs a 6+ to stay in formation. They are out. Then the 303rd. 5 also out of formation. No Luftwaffe Squadron interception. So we'll draw one last event card. Homebound event here. German radar system. If desired, reroll Luftwaffe response. Subtract 2 from the Luftwaffe response roll. No need for that because nobody's coming after us anyway. Then we'll move the mission counter. And the mission at this point is considered to be over. So final target damage status, they took no damage. The Hell's Angels and the Berlin Sleeper both get 1 experience just for flying, which is enough to promote the Hell's Angels up to green. Actually, up to green, I believe. Recruit, yep, green. So they actually get a. So on the 0 to 11, they get a. They're still okay. They're still okay at 0 to 8. Move it, attack it slow, but now they've got a +2 air to air and a +0 air to ground. 9 to 11, shaken, slow, +1 air to air, -2 air to ground. The Berlin Sleeper is not able to promote because he needs 1 more experience. Record group status, and we've got all of that. Repeat pre-flight mission briefing. We didn't have any ASW mission, so now we're at the end of the week. Just spending time setting up a new game. Going to play Hero Quest today. Nice. Alright, so now we have to try to roll for repair. And for the... Let me double check how the repair works. Roll a die, compare it to... Then decrease the damage by 1 level. So right now, that airfield is at medium damage. So at a 7+, it's going to reduce by 1. That's a 3, so it's still got medium damage on it, which is 5 damage. Then we advance the weak counter. And next week we will be at week 4 for August 1942, and that will do it for today's mission in B-17 Flying Fortress Leader. Another, not a complete loss. We did work over the airfield a little bit up here in France. Let me bring the dice tower out of the way so I can point out which airfield we went after. We went after the one in here. And remember, we need to get at least 10 victory points worth of airfields, or we get an automatic dismal evaluation on our campaign. I'm definitely enjoying B-17 Flying Fortress Leader, though. When I went nuclear on my DVG collection last year, getting rid of Warfighter was absolutely the right call. And the leader games that I got rid of at that time were probably fine to get rid of. But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying the campaign aspect of watching my pilots develop and seeing how the war unfolds. So we'll probably continue the tradition next year with, and by next year I mean 2026 next year, with doing a war game or a different campaign game as the fall campaign rather than another Arkham Horror card game campaign. We'll have to see what I decide on next year, though. Anyway, I'm rambling a bit. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up. Next week, we'll be, let's see, you and Ian might play Battle of Hoth for fun today after mowing and before the game. Group played Gulpax's Secret with characters we made when we played Role Player last weekend. Nice! And thanks for the kind words, Troy. Glad to showcase some new stuff on the channel. Anywho, rambling, I'm wrapping this video up. Later today, I will be pulling one of my off-season videos forward, but I'm going to hold which one I'm pulling forward close to the vest until I'm ready to go live. As for Monday night, we will be at the SAP Center in San Jose, California to start Game 1 of the 2009-10 Stanley Cup Finals, as the New Jersey Devils will be taking on the San Jose Sharks. Wednesday, we're playing Terra Mystica from Fureland Spiel. Saturday, Mystical Munchies will conclude out of the official Elder Scrolls cookbook as we make the dessert, Apple Cobbler. Next week, the fall campaign in B-17 Flying Fortress Leader will continue. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.